It's time for Talkin Tauntauns, your Star Wars source at AIPTcomics.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talkin Tauntauns. I am Jim Lahane, and with me, as always, is our favorite Nicole Herview.
Hello there. What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
And with us, making her triumphant return, it's our favorite Rayven Spencer.
Good morning. Hello.
Welcome back.
Triumphant.
Triumphant return.
Always. It's always triumphant.
I love it.
How are you doing, Rayven?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it. Always have a good time when I come to see you guys. Doing well. Nothing exciting to report. Sorry to say.
No news is good news, I guess, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah.
So sometimes it's kind of how you like. I'd just rather not have news.
Right. Boring is good. Boring is good.
How are you doing, Nicole?
Oh, I'm great. I spent too much money on Thursday, for sure, on May the 4th, on too much merch. My boyfriend, my lovely boyfriend, who will be on the show in a few weeks, hopefully, as long as
now you just jinxed
nothing
it.
Weird happens. I know. I heard it and I was like, damn. Anyway, David, he peer pressured me, encouraged me, and then I went with it to buy the Leia poncho, the Endor poncho from Shop Disney. So I bought that. And then 3 hours later, he was like, so I am going to the ER. And then he had to have his appendix taken out. So that's what he gets for making me spend money that I don't have.
Karma.
Yeah, for real. No, in all seriousness, that's been stressful and I have to go take care of him later. But he's fine. Everything's okay. It was just scary for like 2 days. But he's fine. Very, thankfully, simple fix. But yeah, that was my May the 4th. It was, hey, spend so much money. Okay, wait, I have to go to the ER. Oh no. Like that was the day. Very fun. Very, very fun. And he's now seen more visions than I have. And I'm like, the show, not, he's not seeing stuff.
I'm like, what kind of meds is he on? Jeez.
Really?
None. They didn't give him anything, which I was shocked at. They were like, take some Advil, you're going to be fine. I was like, his organ is gone. What are you talking about? Whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I think he said he's seen all of it, except like maybe one episode. I'm like, I've seen none of it.
I haven't seen any of it either.
I'm very excited about it, but apparently it's great. I've heard excellent things. So, yeah. How are you, Jim?
Doing okay. I start my new job tomorrow.
Oh, well done.
Yep. So I got another computer, in the mail.
Amazing.
My daughter looks at it and goes, "Is that another computer? So you have 3 computers now?" I said, "Yes." Yes, I do.
I'm a man who owns 3 computers. Only like 2 people are going to get that reference, but that's okay. But that's very funny.
I didn't get that reference.
I didn't get the reference, but I own 3 computers, so.
So I'm looking at my 3 computers, actually.
Exactly. I'm like, it's
my
not
laptop.
that unusual.
I have my personal laptop. I have my work laptop, and then I have my iMac. So. Same. No, that's a reference to a YouTuber named Markiplier, who was once doing a video where he was cooking and he realized he had 5 ovens, and he just looked at the camera. He goes, "I am a man who owns 5 ovens," and it was the funniest. For some reason, everyone held on to that, and we have been for like 8 years. So anytime someone's like, "I have an obscene amount of this one thing," I go, "I am a man who owns X, Y." So in this case, 3 computers.
Sometimes
You're so
those are the
welcome.
best jokes, though.
That was nerd corner.
Okay.
Well, sometimes the best jokes are pointing out something really obvious that everyone knows, and yet doesn't think about. It's my favorite Jeff Foxworthy, "you might be a redneck if" joke. If the most popular phrase in your house is "somebody go jiggle the handle." It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. Everybody is a redneck because we've all had it happen because toilets break. It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So everybody has had that, day or two, depending on, how handy the people of your house are. It's it's just a thing that everybody's gone through. And it's hilarious because it's like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
Mine's been broken for almost a year.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't have a handle. It's one of those like push top button toilets.
Yeah.
So I gotta go in there and lift the lid and pull the thing until it stops running. And I still haven't. I live in an apartment. I just haven't called maintenance. So what does that
exactly
make me?
Why it's hilarious.
That makes me a woman with ADHD who's like, oh yeah, that's a problem I should fix. And then I forget that it's a thing, completely. And it's like, just put in the maintenance request, Nicole. Jesus.
It's the simple real life that's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Every time I call maintenance, I get a rude response.
I'm pretty sure
it's
it's
because
you,
you're
right?
maintenance?
It is me, yes. And
yeah.
I hate getting the phone calls.
Yeah, I hear that.
I take all my own maintenance calls too, for the most part. Oh, I need a new faucet in the kitchen. I could call, but you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, right?
Now I have the pull down sprayer and everything's great.
Oh, love that for you. That's fantastic. Do we have news, Jim?
We have news.
Hey.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker. Then I'll see you in hell.
Hello, what have we here?
I was trying to go somewhere with the pull down sprayer, and I'm like in the showers where you have the little chain.
No.
But I was so confused. I'm like, how did we get to the shower chain from a faucet? Like, how big is your faucet?
No, it's just the hand sprayer thing. Yeah, the hand sprayer thing. Yeah,
for the washing
I'm not
of
a
dishes
morning
and whatnot.
person. My brain doesn't actually kick on till noon.
Yeah,
I get it.
Same.
I've left the house and come home already today, so I'm just a few hours ahead of most people.
You're doing great.
And you're an hour behind us.
Yeah, for real. You're doing amazing. You're doing great, sweetie.
Thanks. The early bird gets the worm.
Oh, man. I was doing that for 4 days when I got back from England, and I was still ahead, and I was waking up at 6 a.m. and I was like, yes, I'm ready to get everything. I'm ready to do all the stuff. And it was awesome. And now I just woke up at 9 and I was like, oh no. I have to do things. I'm behind already. But yeah, my excuse is I was telling y'all before, it was my best friend's 30th birthday party last night. So that's my excuse. And I'm sticking to that.
9 a.m. is not that late, just throwing it out there.
Right.
I mean, in my house, you would have already been beaten out of bed, 2 hours before that. But
sure.
9 o'clock isn't that late.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's okay.
Not bad.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
All right. But speaking of Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we were doing.
Yep.
We have one piece of news. And apparently, at Celebration, so when we got the announcement that we were getting 3 new Star Wars movies at the Lucasfilm Spotlight panel, we didn't hear anything about timelines on anything. But apparently, in Empire Magazine, that based on what they're saying, occurred during the time of Celebration. So this is a month old, just being released now to the public. Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy did give a timeline for these movies. And she said that the first one likely will not happen until 2025, which is actually
fair enough.
When we were looking at, they had released the upcoming slate of Disney movies for the next, 4 years or something when we were looking at them? Because they had all the Pixar and stuff and then a lot of unnamed movies in there. I think the first one, they had 2 slots for Star Wars, and the first slot was 2025.
I think you're right.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't remember when they made those announcements thinking, "Oh, great, we're getting a movie tomorrow." I remember it being out a ways. So yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, if they're just announcing it, they're probably in pre-production. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 years. Sure.
Yep.
Why not?
It does concern me, though, that we're putting the cart before the horse again, is that they're making announcements without enough stuff set up and that it may not happen.
I mean, yes, but the fact that they're not announcing something specific means that they can pivot and like adjust if they need to. So they'll put something out, but we just don't know what, They're vague enough.
Don't you think there's a possibility that Dave Filoni has, 432 Star Wars scripts to choose from that he's written over the course?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He might be able to pivot a little bit better than your average NBA player because he's been planning for this for some time.
He already wrote
this.
He already wrote the script 10 years ago. He just has to find it.
Oh my God.
It's like, I just need to find the one I'm looking for. Hold on a second.
Yeah. It's like the 7th piece of fan fiction he ever wrote, and he's like, "This is the one. This is it, guys.
I've got my
found it." Oh my God in heaven! Yeah, I am sure that man has more content to put together to make a movie than anyone has ever dreamed up in their mind ever. Like that man, I guarantee you, has written more Star Wars than George Lucas has. Just in terms of volume.
Probably, yeah.
Like if you put it next to each other, if you take George's 6 movies and whatever else that he has written and contributed to, right? And then you take Filoni. Holy God, the pile would be it. So yeah, he's got plenty to choose from, and it's probably all really good. Like that's what gets me excited. It's Filoni, so the majority of it is going to be good to great, and then some of it's going to be blow your mind stellar, and the rest is decent at least. So
well, and coming from a creator that we can trust, right? A creator we can trust to be a fan, to love Star Wars, to appreciate the things that created Star Wars that, that have always been a part of it. But then someone who also shows that he's totally capable of making new things and new changes and doing things that we're not used to. And that's going to be the best case scenario. I've always thought the best Star Wars creator is going to be a fan of Star Wars. But we've also seen how that can go terribly wrong as well. I don't think that Dave is one of the ones that goes terribly wrong. I think he has a great deal of respect and love for what came before, but he's not afraid to try new things. And I think that that's what's going to help, expand Star Wars and make it better all around.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised because the article also hints at what the next movie or the first of these movies is going to be, and it's not Dave Filoni's movie. It's Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's The New Jedi Order Rey movie.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
And
it's interesting that you'd lead with that, but
yeah, and I heard interesting tidbits that the Damon Lindelof script that was out there is this movie. Like it obviously probably got rewritten and changed through the process of everything, but this is the movie he was associated with.
Very interesting.
Didn't they recently just have news about him saying that, he was asked to leave, but he would actually, absolutely go back to Star Wars? If I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw a headline stating that. And I could be wrong, so by all means, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure I saw something that said that. So, maybe that's just an acknowledgement of the fact that what he created is part of what they're going to be using, or what I mean? Like, I'm giving a thumbs up over here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I think it was more of a he dropped off the script and ran away. And
I mean, I don't know. That's just what the headline said.
So yeah, I obviously we're not going to get all the details of exactly what was involved with any of this at all ever.
Right.
But I think he had got the comment of or he had made the comment that only the best should be put out there, and he said something like, obviously what I made was not one of the best.
Mm.
But he would be glad to work on Star Wars again at some point in the future if he could.
Let
Yeah.
me see. I'm pulling up stuff that, is around that. Yeah. I'm looking for a reputable source.
That's the hard
that's
thing.
the other thing. Yeah.
Esquire. I'll take Esquire. Damon
Yeah, that's pretty
Lindelof
good.
says he was asked to leave. I'm looking for a quote. I'm just looking for any quote, and if we can't find this...
Yeah, I think that's the headline I saw.
Yeah, I was in more than talks to join the Star Wars universe. Lindelof says, I joined the Star Wars universe and was asked to leave. Previously, he told Variety that his axed script was a true labor of love and that there would still be a new film, quote, but unfortunately not with me. Will I get back in line outside the club and try to get back in again? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I had
So,
seen.
yes. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again, he jokes. Or, yeah, he makes a joke about Yoda. Yeah, so absolutely. He straight up was like, yes, I will try again. But he was, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, but that's all the news I got. Our main topic of discussion is somewhat trying to catch up on this other show that was also coming out as the same time as The Mandalorian. The Bad Batch.
So why haven't I heard of this squad? Experimental Unit Clone Force 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
I can't do two things at once, so I couldn't watch them both at the same time. I was like,
Right.
I don't know what's happening. My wires are getting crossed all over the place. I don't know what timeline we're in. I don't know where I am. So, no. It's like I can only focus on one of these things. But yeah, go on, Jim. Sorry.
So, yes, today we are going to cover episodes 10 through 13. 10 is Retrieval, 11, Metamorphosis, 12, The Outpost, and 13 is Paboo. And going over the titles of these while I was sitting down to rewatch them last night and this morning, I'm like, I do not know what this episode is about whatsoever. And I'm like, I watched this.
I did too, and I rewatched and I had the same exact feeling like, I don't remember this. I mean, some of it I did, but I was like, oh, did I watch this? Because it says I did, but I don't remember.
I sure didn't. So this was the fresh first watch for me.
All right, so you haven't finished the season, right, Nicole?
No, I have not, and I could have finished it yesterday, and on purpose, I was like, no, I just want to talk about these episodes.
Good.
I don't want to be able to talk about the next 3. It's just these 4, so I will not be watching that until we're discussing them.
Okay, good.
So.
That's I just wanted to make sure as to not spoil anything that.
Thank you. A couple things have been. I'll tell you what I know. What I know is that the finale is heartbreaking, and something happens with Tech. That's all I know. That's as specific as I can be. And thank you for your poker faces.
I assume you've watched everything, Rayven?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Although clearly I don't remember watching these ones. I mean, like I said, I do remember some of it, but like a lot of it, I was just like, so I'm not going to spoil anything because
I'm like, The Outpost. What on earth is The Outpost? And then it starts, and we see Crosshair, and I'm like, oh, this is that Crosshair episode. Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Metamorphosis, and I'm like, what on earth are these? Like the titles are so bland.
They really are.
Metamorphosis? Which one was that?
I still don't know what Metamorphosis.
Monster,
I'm like trying to think.
The Dillo Beast or whatever.
Yes, it was the Zillow Beast one.
The Zillow Beast. What's a Dillo Beast? Good morning, everybody. I literally have my tea in my hand. Like, I have my caffeine in my hands. It is not hit yet. The Zillow Beast. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm close. I know I'm close. Now you know if there's ever a Dillo Beast in a book I write, why.
Yeah.
That
Ridiculous.
that sounds I'm not going there. Okay.
It sure does. It sure does. Clearly, I need to get my head checked. All right. Yes. So there was to talk about like what the plots are, right? You've got that one with the Zillow Beast. Well, you've got the weird crime boss. Well, not really. The mine boss man.
So
that's the first one that we're talking about.
Yeah, Retrieval is a direct sequel to what we had talked about a while ago with the Crossing, where they got abandoned on the planet and they had their ship stolen, and so literally we're picking up directly from that where they're still trying to get off. Sid said, "Yeah, I'll come get you eventually." Which, as we've seen in these 4 episodes, Sid is becoming less and less reliable and more peevish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sucks.
Absolutely.
That's the long and short of it is she sucks.
Absolutely.
I don't know why. I don't really care why. I'm sure there's a reason. She sucks. Like it's that simple. But yeah, she's letting them down big time. And then turning around and threatening them, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I don't even think she doesn't even come up in this episode because we just talked about her in episode 9, where she said, "Yeah, I'll come get you eventually." And then, so, do you guys watch this with subtitles, captions?
Yes, sir.
On?
I sure do.
Not usually, no.
No. One of the best things is the name of the Gonk droid is Gonky.
Yes.
And so every time that Gonky talks, it says it's Gonky honks. And it's just subtitles Gonky honks.
And it's so right. He is honking. He sure is honking. But Gonky's honking. It's Gonky honks.
That's almost like a band name. It's almost a band name.
Yes. It's a weird country Star Wars band.
Absolutely.
Called Gonky Honks instead of like Honky Tonk or whatever. It's
there you go.
It's Gonky Honks. And they play like weird, really super southern country music.
But they also have those weird instruments you never hear in a band.
Like the I don't know what it's called, the mouth harp thingy thing. Yes. One of those, definitely. And the guy with the washboard, for sure. Definitely going to play that. Yeah. Spoons. I mean, because we're talking like down home. This is going to be some down home, real country music. And I love country music, so I'm not making fun of it. I'm being real. Like, this is the real stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, Gonky Honks is something I noticed as well. It's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, I became a subtitle girly, like a captions girly, like a few years ago. And then I realized how much I wasn't hearing in shows. And I was like, oh.
So we were watching, Peter Pan and Wendy. We watched it over the weekend. Yeah. And my daughter always puts on subtitles for me. And I'm like looking and I'm like, the subtitles are going. And I'm like, is anybody actually saying anything? Because I see subtitles with words, but I do not hear a thing. Yeah. They're like... my wife and daughter is like, they're like speaking in the background very quietly. I'm like there's nothing coming out of like the speakers.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens though. You do. That's part of the joy of captions is you will pick up stuff that you wouldn't have heard otherwise, when something's on. For me, captions are just, I spend so much time staring at them that I miss visually what's going on. And
sure.
For me, I just find it very distracting if I don't need to. I mean, if it's really quiet, like if I can't hear Christopher Nolan, I'll turn them on so I can know what's going on. But like, otherwise I won't unless, they're part of the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was definitely an adjustment period for me, especially especially with the ADHD, right? To be able to like take in both like all at once was an adjustment period, but now I can't live without them. Like I'm like, I literally wasn't hearing people's names right at all. Yeah. I'm like, oh God. And then especially with horror, bro, stuff that like you don't hear and like a Mike Flanagan show, like a Haunting of Hill House moment, you know? There's stuff that's like so quiet that it's supposed to be like subconscious because he's a genius. And like I'd hear it and be like, oh my God. Oh, that's creepy as hell. But like you wouldn't, like it would just go right over my head previously. So yeah, it's definitely, I get it. The point is, like, my mom's the same way. She's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you take them? Aren't you just reading the whole time? And I'm like, not anymore. Sure was for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I digress. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it took probably like a month for me to be like, okay, like, this is just part of it now. But anyway.
This is just my life.
Totally.
Yep.
And guy, I find it gets a lot easier because then I don't have to ask the person next to me, what'd they say?
Yeah, that's me in movies now.
That's exactly
when I go to a theater,
you get
I'm
used
like,
to it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I go to a theater now, and I'm like, what the hell? What are they talking about? What are they? Can I have captions, please? Please, God. But yeah,
it's
anyway,
like having the lyrics
digress.
to a song. You know, you're missing less if you can actually understand everything that they're saying. You know, because let's be honest, a lot of music, it's hard to understand the actual words that someone's saying. You know, a lot of times, I mean, they had that whole big commercial thing a couple of years ago of people singing the wrong lyrics to songs that everybody knows, and yet it's clear that people don't know the words.
Oh, I don't know the lyrics to any song ever. Because I can't understand them.
No, you really can't. I mean, there are some people that are very clear, but not most.
I listened to Fall Out Boy. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, what's he saying? Let's go, Patrick. What are you saying? And now I understand him, and that's a skill. But anyway,
I listen to Journey, so there's never any difficulty understanding every single word that he says because Steve's pretty clear.
He overemphasizes.
He knows how to
every
enunciate.
He
That
enunciates.
man took an enunciation course. Like he knows what he's playing in the back row. You know, he knows what he's doing.
I actually commented
Stop.
that on a reaction video.
Believing.
When I was in vocal training years ago, when I was in school, because I sang competitively, you know, we did a lot of specific exercises for enunciation and all these other things. So as a listener to the music, I appreciate things like the fact that he can soar so high and still drop the last consonant of that word. You know what he said. You're not worried about you missed something or he was lazy about it. Like, he's never lazy.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I'm
You're
fine.
damn
I get
right.
it all. And then, of course, my other side is Joe Elliott from Def Leppard, which means I don't understand half of what he says. If you like Joe Elliott, you know, you don't really have to understand what he's saying. It's about the way he says it.
All right.
That's absolutely true.
Back to Star Wars.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yes. No. It's all good stuff. Coming back
We're good.
around.
So retrieval.
Donkey honks.
Gonky
Yes.
honkin.
Donkey honks.
The Armadillo Man. Yes, I'm with you.
Yes,
I'm there.
they find where their ship went because they track Gonky, which is where this entire conversation got off the rails.
Yeah. Off the rails or improved?
Yes, all the same. And
Only I the beholder.
these couple episodes focusing so much on Omega made me think, have you guys ever seen any of those cat videos where they'll like cut out a melon and put like a tiny little melon on a cat's head, like a helmet? That's what
I have
Omega
seen
looks
that.
like. Like with her little helmet.
Agreed. Agreed. It's not as cool looking as the rest of the Bad Batch. She does not look as cool as everybody else. Like,
I wish she did, but she didn't.
I wish she did, but you know,
She
not a
ain't
criticism.
fierce.
It's just a fact, right? Like,
No.
I'm not cool either. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Listen.
Like, we'll be all right, Omega.
I love her bow and arrow set. I just hate
I
the
do.
helmet.
The helmet's rough. The
I
helmet's rough.
do like the bow and arrow set though, because that in itself is kind of, I mean, Omega's a different case than your average kid, but you know, it's the kind of weapon you would give a kid as opposed to something, you know what I mean? Because we're still kind of itchy about that in the world that we live in. We don't like movies where kids handle guns. We don't mind if they have weapons, but we don't like it when they have guns, you know, and it's like, it's one of those things where it's like It's a softer thing. It's here's your bowcaster instead of a regular old-fashioned blaster. It's like, well, it's the same thing. Yeah, but it doesn't look the same. You still look like you're playing a game, and we like that better.
It harkens back to Ezra's slingshot.
It does. You're exactly right.
Because they
Another
both
perfectly popular kid's weapon.
Yeah, they both are, because she doesn't load her bow and arrow. It's as soon as you pull it back, it's like a auto load, just like Ezra's slingshot. As soon as he pulled it back, it was auto load. And so they're essentially, I probably took the idea from the Rebel slingshot.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
But yes, we are trying to get our ship back from the kid who stole it and a gang of children that works for an
armadillo.
Who's missing most of his limbs.
Yeah.
That's
who thinks
man.
he's the Godfather.
Who thinks he's the Godfather.
But is really just like a low-rung mobster thug, kind of like running his own crew, but he thinks he's Corleone. It's like,
yeah, because he's preying upon children, so he's clearly so good at what he does. He's so manipulative. He has to do it to children.
While he's shoving food down his face.
Yo, that was gross.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I hate looking at this. This is not fun for me. Very effective. Very effective. Hated it.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting, like, you just mentioned Peter Pan and Wendy or whatever, but it's like, if the Lost Boys were working for Captain Hook, is kind of like what it felt like. And there wasn't like a Peter Pan to like be their little boy leader. I don't know. It was so fascinating. But as soon as that child ate a ration covered in dirt off the floor, I was like, okay, this isn't going to be fun at all. Like, this is going to be rough. Yeah, and he was borderline annoying as hell, but I just have no patience, so maybe that's me.
The kid that kept winning, I liked him.
Yeah, I was like, he's fine.
You're all right.
I'm pretty sure we're supposed to dislike this kid because he's the popular one who wins everything, who's pressing down on our hero. I'm like, no, I'd rather be with that kid.
Yeah. And it's not like that kid is like diametrically opposed to Benny. You know, he's just like, he's doing, I think his name is Drake.
I don't know, but I forgot Benny's name.
Benny. I was like, this kid's name is Benny, and they just made it with an I to make it, not
so
Benny.
So he wasn't confused with Benny and the Jets?
Correct.
I was going to say that.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Because as soon as Benny was like, you've been lying to all of us, that kid was like, okay, I'm the only one who can make this stick. And he takes the thing and he looks at it and he's like, yep, that guy. That guy sucks. It was pretty quick.
I love about this is that you have these kids who theoretically are working in the mines and stealing stuff. So they're not getting an education. All of a sudden, they're able to read these reports about the mining Ipsium and be able to understand that the crime boss is cheating them. Like,
yeah, they know their profit loss reports. Like they know a balance sheet when they see it. Like they're crafty. They understand money. I don't know what they were looking at, obviously, but it had to be pretty obviously like, even if it was like an invoice for like refined Ipsium or like whatever. It's like, oh, so this is, and like the money, like who knows what the hell it was. But yeah, they really knew quick. They were like, oh yes, this man is a cheat and a liar. Real quick.
Although
Real
they
quick.
set him up in the show so that it was a satisfactory when he died. It was
yeah. They did a lot in 20 minutes. For sure.
This episode and The Outpost, they set up the villain of the episode very quickly so that when they died, you were happy about it.
You're like, that's fine. Let him die. It's fine.
Justice is great.
Mm-hmm.
Justice, thy name is Crosshair. Like, it's just absurd. And of course, like, you have the moment that has to be in, like, every, like, villain death kind of that a child sees, where, like, your hero is like, take my hand, like, you don't have to die, like, it's fine, take my hand, and then the villain's like an ass about it, and then we're like, he deserves it. Like, I was like, oh god. They have one of those in The Lion King 2. I think it was the first time I ever noticed it. I was like 7 years old watching The Lion King 2 in 1999 on home video, and Kiara, Simba's daughter does that to the villain in the movie, is like, give me your paw. And ever since, I'm like, that's a trope I'm gonna remember forever.
Yeah.
And they do it every time. Almost every time. Didn't happen in The Outpost because Crosshair is cold-blooded. Like,
Cold-blooded.
Cold. That man is cold. I love him. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We'll get there. Oh, my God. But yeah, that was very, like, we didn't need that 30 seconds, but go on, I guess.
You know what? When your hero, quote unquote, or one of your heroes is someone who does not so good things, anything you can do to further polish said rough diamond is going to work. So in the very end, give the bad guy the very last chance to survive. Ain't I a great guy? Even though I totally steal stuff like all the time. It's like, you have a reason, but that's not the point. We're just going to do a little bit more to make you likable. So we're going to make you selfless.
Exactly.
And, you know, willing to risk being betrayed again to save this person's life. And,
it also does show quite how much of an influence this man has on these kids. That even, like, knowing that he's cheating you, you still care this much, you know?
Literally trying to kill them by giving an entire group of kids one bowl of soup.
Yeah, that was absurd. I almost feel like that was a little too much. Because, like, you want them alive to work for you. You're absolutely right.
Historically, it's correct. It's children are easily manipulated. They're easily coerced. Stockholm syndrome happens to them a lot faster. Children generally are much more willing to forgive a wrong. Probably because as a child, I mean, legitimately, you don't really understand the risks that you might be incurring. You know what I mean? It's one of those things you have to experience, you know, that immortality of childhood, that belief that, you know, in the end, it's still going to get up tomorrow morning, you know, and it's just like, well, no. But as a kid, you just don't have that, thankfully, that comprehension of how fragile everything is. And even a kid in a bad situation where that fragility is more out there, even then, kids are much easier to just move past it because the kids, they have to be resilient to learn and grow and experience, you know. And I think that happens even in a situation like this, although it's decidedly worse than what our kids you know, have to face on a day-to-day basis. We don't usually give a bowl of soup for 40 kids because we're generally nicer than that usually. I mean, I don't have kids. If I did, I probably would, but that's why I don't.
It's easy to manipulate them, as any parent knows.
As any parent knows. As any auntie knows. It's easy.
So I did like the one last thing I have on the episode is they set up Benny to come back.
Oh, they sure do. And I'm like, does Omega have a boyfriend? What's happening? But yeah, they really did. They're like, he's coming back. And I'm like, does he have to?
With his neck tattoos?
Well, maybe
his neck
Benny will grow to be, you know, somebody we can really like.
I hope so. I am just like, absolutely not. I like the neck tattoos. I'm not, but I'm me, so of course I like the neck tattoos.
The
I'm like,
throat tattoos.
I feel like he needs more. You know, if you ask any tattoo artist, right? They will not tattoo, most of them, your neck first. They're like, no, you gotta have like a full sleeve before I'm touching your neck.
Well, it's not
But
even
this
the neck,
poor
it's
kid-
the throat.
It's his throat, yeah.
Yeah. But you just have to
Yeah.
be, you know, I mean, tattoo artists are kind of like, you know, doctors in a way. It's like, you're asking me to do something that's, you know, not undoable. So before we do that, we want to make sure you're ready. And, you know, neck tattoos, which I wholeheartedly approve of, but, you know, they're not something that's easy to hide. And there is a reality of the world that, you know, they can be identifying. They can, you know, cause people to act silly and so on and so forth. So, you know, reasonable.
They also just aesthetically, they're so stark when you're not otherwise covered. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are, there's a wrestler that I'm thinking of that has like 3 tattoos and one of them is on the side of his neck and it looks atrocious. But if he just had like the rest of him tattooed, it'd be like, oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Like there's just something aesthetically, and I think a lot of artists are like, I'm not gonna put my own work on blast like that because it could be the most beautifully stunning tattoo, but it's just on your neck and there's nothing else to blend it in.
Right.
It looks awful. It looks awful. So they know what they're doing, for sure.
I will say for the record, though,
not...
my first tattoo is on my neck.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Where is
and I only have one tattoo, so it's not like they had it, but it's on the back. So that's
different.
Well, that's
that
different.
Is a different.
That's essentially
very different. And that's cute. Like that's
exactly.
cute.
That's completely different. But it's just
that's
funny
a different thing.
It's the same principle. It's like literally it's on the back of my neck, so therefore none of these things apply.
Exactly.
That they would if it was on the front of my neck, which is really funny because we're talking about a difference of a few inches.
But
we really are.
I just
it's
see
same
it as
body
like
part. It's placement.
It's so like
really
it's so delicate that
it's a hairy place to do it.
It is not a fun spot for sure.
Even in the back,
it is a hairy place to do it on me.
That's like on your spine. Like that's you know when you
really
hit a nerve,
wasn't that
it's like
bad. I didn't have too much problem with it, but I compare it to feeling the same way it does to braid my hair. It's like, does it hurt? Yes. Does it hurt horribly? No.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's how I feel about it as well. But
the center, because I have the Mandalorian mythosaur.
You sure do.
Right across my spine. That hurt less than on my arm, the upper
I
arm.
believe it. I believe it. Well, the nerve endings back there are slightly further apart. I remember seeing a scientific experiment where they walked around a beach with calipers and they were testing people, you know, putting them closer and closer and closer and further and further. And when you're on your back, there you don't notice that it's 2 pieces that are touching you until they're like a certain distance apart because you're not as sensitive to those delicate touches. And you think, oh, you're just touching me with one. It's like, well, no, there's 2 and they're this far apart. But you can't necessarily tell because of that sensitivity. Well, it's not necessary on your back the way it is on your fingertips and everything else, where you can be literally like a millimeter apart and your fingertip can tell you, no, that's 2 things that's touching me, not 1. But it's just the different, you know, makeup and buildup of the way the body is designed to work, you know, and why.
It's fascinating.
Here, I'm just picturing like people going across the beach and cattle prodding, like people on the beach with that.
Just branding everybody.
Calipers, not cattle prods. Calipers, for anybody who doesn't know, they're the thing they use to test your body fat at the gym. They're little, you know, not scary things. But it was an interesting prospect because as they went around and did it, it was very regular across people that when they got to the back of someone's body, you know, in certain places, you could not tell 2 things were touching you, even though they were further than an inch apart. And yet on your finger, if they're a millimeter apart, you know it's 2 things, not 1.
That's fascinating.
It's just a design, you know, one part's supposed to feel things and the other part can, but it's not as necessary.
Yeah.
Just imagine what it would be like if your back was as sensitive as your fingertips. How would you lay down on your bed?
How would you do anything?
Anything in your bed would drive you insane because you'd be able to feel every single imperfection the way that you can feel with your fingers. And when you think about it, you can run your fingers across a roll of tape. You can tell right where that piece is. You can tell if it's slanted. You would drive yourself insane trying to sleep like that.
Yeah.
or wearing
Very
clothes
true.
or any other such thing. It would be impossible with that kind of sensitivity if you had it everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. So moving
Yeah,
on to
that
the next
episode was
episode.
Yeah.
After the health
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah, very good.
So Metamorphosis is our next episode. I found this one really interesting because it did something that everybody thought was completely forgotten about. In the Clone Wars, the Zillo Beast episode, they took the Zillo Beast and they killed it, and they were taking it to be cloned. Last we heard of it, never came back. And all of a sudden it
Came
shows
back.
back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got a lot of stuff that's building up now towards the end of at least the season, because we get Dr. Hemlock, who I think this is the first time we've seen him, right?
I believe so. I don't remember him.
Is this really the first time? Maybe it is. I
think-
could have sworn there was like a snippet at some point earlier, but I could be mistaken.
He could have
You're
been
probably right.
he could have been
I
snippet,
don't
but
know.
this is the first time I think that we it focused on him.
Right.
Sure.
We also got what I found really fascinating is Mount Tantus. So Nicole's lip just twitched. Like, what?
Let me tell you something. I how do I put this? Zoned the heck out this entire episode.
Did? Oh.
I don't remember. I was like, there's a Zillo Beast. It's causing chaos. People are mad. That's it. Like, if you
that's
put
the
a
premise
gun
of the
to my
episode.
head and said, what happens beat for beat? I'm like, I know there's a Zillo Beast. It ate a bunch of people. It feeds off electricity. They said, don't let it get to the power grid. It was already in the power grid. They somehow stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got, man.
So that
Peek behind the curtain. I just outlined my second book yesterday. And the ideas were just rolling through my head all day, and I was like, I had to get these down. I have to get these down. I have to get these down. But I also had to watch The Bad Batch. So this was the episode that I was like friggin' astral projecting, like writing my book in my head basically, while also watching The Bad Batch. So I don't remember this episode. The other ones I do. This one was the perfect like episode for me to just be like, I'm not here. Like,
I think
anyway.
the entire plot you gave was also probably the least interesting part of it for me. Because
Great.
like
Tell
it's
me what else
everything-
happened, Jim.
Well, it's like they go to this mountain, Mount Tantus,
Okay.
jumping way back to Heir to the Empire. Timothy Zahn's book that came out in 91. Mount Tantus, it was the Emperor's storehouse. And in the Emperor's storehouse, he had all his cloning facilities. That's where we get the clone of the Jedi from. We get
Makes sense.
all of his high-tech, super secret knowledge. This was the storage location and research facility that nobody in the Empire knew about. It was his private little playground. And they didn't accidentally call this Mount Tantus.
I'm sure.
And so like we have the Kaminoan geneticist who is
Oh yeah. Oh, she was there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
She's under
Gone.
lock and key, but she ain't doing nothing. And so these like, is there any other Kaminoans out there? It's like, well, we got the Prime Minister. He's like, let's get him too here. And so now you got leverage.
That was interesting. Yeah, when the prime minister's like, "Oh yeah, I know how you get to her. Listen, just find Omega. You're good."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no." Yeah, I do remember that. Okay, it's all coming back to me now.
I can't do anything with someone named Hemlock.
That's
as a
that
as a
name.
detective novel person, all I hear is Dr. Hemlock Shears. And then I just start laughing, and then it keeps getting worse, and I just keep laughing. So for me, anybody named Hemlock, it's not going to work for me unless I'm reading an ancient, story about somebody, offing somebody back in the olden days with Hemlock. That's the only time that does not just make me laugh the whole time.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's
it's a
fascinating.
weird.
I mean,
it doesn't feel
my
Star
cat
Warsy.
is named Arsène Lupin, so if you know Hemlock Shears, you know why that is hilarious to me.
So, it doesn't feel Star Warsy like the name Hemlock. It
Hemlock?
feels like
Yeah.
No.
It grounds it too much in our world. Like I like as soon as I hear it, like a lot of words you can kind of like, oh yeah, that can kind of fit both. But hemlock, it's like
Yeah.
immediately I'm like Earth. like
Yeah. It's
I
interesting,
feel that
right?
way when
like,
they say "what the heck," you know,
Yeah.
something like that. I'm like, you know about that?
do you know about heck? Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like I said, I was just outlining a book yesterday, and it's a fantasy book. And there is just a very specific like sound that a name in a fantasy book has to have.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say it out loud, it has to be fantasy. And if it's to our world, it doesn't work.
Agreed.
And I was finding myself taking like real names of things and then letter by letter just changing them and being like, okay, we're just throwing the Scrabble letters out and we're going to see what happens. And it takes forever because you have to hear it and go, that's not right. I like it, but it's not right. I like it, but it's not right. I hate that. It's right, but I hate it. And then you just like, it's a lot of what I did yesterday and it's exhausting. So the fact that someone was just like, Hemlock, I was like, bro.
and it's the bad guy
Star
too.
Wars names are easy. Like not easy, but easier than fantasy. I was like, bro, I've had Star Wars names in my head for 20 years. Do you want the list?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Right. Like I can help you do better than Hemlock.
Yeah, Hemlock. Yeah, Hemlock sounds like if it's in Star Wars, it's a weed of some kind. Like that, they're like we had
It's
to
a
find
weed of some kind anyway.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're
That's
right.
what it is here.
Yeah, but like
hasn't
if you're going to use that, it has to. You know what I mean? It has to have like to me the same etymology. Like it shouldn't raise a red flag in your head. Like it can't be that heavy of a leap. I don't know. It's just
Well, yeah, and why would somebody in that position be named after what sounds like a space weed, or in our case,
Correct.
we know is a weed, and it's a
Is a
plant
weed.
and it's a poison. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a poison, which I
He's a
understand
poison,
that's the
that's-
point.
that's why.
Yeah,
his
but
name-
it's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
you know,
It's
dude's
too
facial
on the
expression
nose.
and voice was
Yes.
mustache twirly enough. He didn't need to straight up pull out the mustache gel and go like this, because that's what Hemlock
Correct.
is. It's like, oh,
Correct.
look at me twirl.
He's poison. Yeah, you're saying, hey,
Hey, bad guy.
he's poison. It's him. And you're like, oh, all right.
Oh, it's like I
Are you
think
looking
of
for
like
the problem? It's that guy.
yeah, it's like
It's him. Hi.
It's
He's
like-
the problem. It's him.
it's like coming up with names for like Lord of the Rings. You got Boromir, you got Aragon, and then you find like there's Steve there.
Right,
It's
right,
like-
right.
It's like,
right.
does this guy belong here?
Meanwhile, for some reason, Luke is fine. Luke's
right,
fine.
of course.
I don't know why, but he's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe because
Because it's built on Luke.
yeah, and the creator's name is Lucas.
I mean, there's that.
It was a
too.
fun self-insert moment. It was just a
No,
fun self-insert.
it is a fun self-insert moment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
it is very on the nose. It's very on
Yeah.
the nose, as it were. It's very mustache twirly, and again, the voice actor, the animation, you didn't need him to visibly twirl his mustache. It was obvious in the tone and the delivery. I mean, you're a bad guy. Like, you just walked up and asked to buy me a drink. I already know you're going to poison me. You don't have to tell me your name is Hemlock. I can tell by the way you look and the way you sound that you're a bad guy. And Hemlock was just a little heavy-handed, you know.
Agree. Big agree.
Mitch.
I'd say speaking of heavy-handed, the next episode.
That's what I was wondering, dude.
Yeah.
Like I liked Metamorphosis. It was a fun episode, but other than what I went over, there's not much. And the fact that
Clearly,
they brought the Zillow Beast back.
I really didn't.
And they mentioned the
apparently,
Tantus
so.
Mountain, because that is important.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
is very interesting. That is very interesting for sure. And I think the big thing is that now the Empire knows they're trying to go after Omega.
Right.
And that target is significant for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of Target, Crosshair.
Oh, Crosshair.
Crosshair.
That was, yeah.
This episode was kind of intense. Like, I feel like it's The Outpost. I feel like it's a rehash of a storyline that we've seen before, probably numerous times. You have like the horror movie, but not really horror movie. Like they kind of tried to do the horror movie vibe where you have this group of people in this outpost who are being picked off one by one, but it's not
very
by
alien.
but it's not by a hidden monster.
But it's not by alien.
Yeah, they tried to like mix tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love when they do that, honestly. I'm like, yes, pay homage. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like, it's just interesting to see Crosshair, who we've only seen be like very like straight and narrow. We've only seen Crosshair as the good soldiers follow orders Crosshair. Like, he is lawful as hell. You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking at the Matrix, the personality matrix, that he's lawful something. But my God, is he lawful, like, just right down that street. And to see his entire ideology start to crumble is very fun. It's very fun for me. I'm like, honey, wake up, let's go.
Well,
and he's starting to realize what he's done.
It's been crumbling every time we go back to him.
For sure.
This season. His entire outlook he has become more and more isolated. The clones have become more and more, like, I don't know,
maligned.
Maligned. That's a good word for it. Like, clearly, like this Imperial is racist against clones. Like,
that's what I meant about the heavy-handedness. I was like, oh my God, there is not a redeeming quality about this man. Like, I like a little bit of gray in my villains. Like, I love Vader for that reason. I like Palpatine for that reason, because it's like, there's something in there that, like, he can be kind, and you're like, I see why Anakin was seduced by this. Like, I love a little bit of gray, and that's, you know, why I love Maul. We won't go there today. But, my God, this guy has none of that. He is just a nightmare. And I feel like it's almost unrealistic. Like, those people absolutely exist. Absolutely. But it's almost a parody of itself. And I was like, this guy doesn't stand a damn chance. Like, they are making us hate him so quick and so intensely. And they're making us so mad that, like, you knew he didn't stand a chance. Did I think it was going to be Crosshair? No, I did not. Not at all.
I do think you're right, though, that those people do in fact exist. It's just that in our world, for the most part, people like that pretend not to be like that. You know, they do their best to,
at least a little.
Yeah, they attempt to seem as though they are socially capable, like everyone else is. Those people are faking it, but at least they understand that they need to fake it in order for no one to know just how diabolical they are. And that's why this was so heavy-handed, because there was none of that softening. You look at, you know, Thanos or General Zod, you know, they're showing these guys who, I'm not a bad guy. Like, my goal is good. Do you see the good the good of what I'm trying to do? Whereas this guy was just like, no, I'm just bad. Just bad. There's no good. There's no explanation. There's no way I could talk you into it. I'm bad. Like,
right.
Okay.
He's the power tripping. Like, Lieutenant's not that high up in the military hierarchy, but he is damn well happy he's higher than everybody else.
He's compensating for something.
I was just gonna say there used to be a title for that particular syndrome. I'm not gonna say it because you can't say it anymore, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Think George Costanza. You'll get it.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Not Jason Alexander. George Costanza.
No,
to be clear.
Yeah,
So-
I was like, oh, I know these men.
Yeah.
End me. Thank you.
Yep.
And Crosshair did it, and I was like, okay, Crosshair got hot.
Well,
quick.
I mean, it was hot already.
He was. Like, let's be real. Yes, but like, damn.
I mean,
like,
I'm a dark and
no.
pretty girl, but I can understand the crossing of the Rubicon. I can't.
Oh, listen, I was a hunter. I am a hunter, baby. Like, I'm like, he's got a skull on his face. Like, I was like, yes. Oh my God, I love him so much. And then he put it on his bandana because it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He's like, no, more skulls. I love
More
him.
skulls.
And then he's like, and then he's also got the like Mandalorian dad energy. And you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then Crosshair was like, never mind.
Hold my
sweetie.
beer.
Like, sit down. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I love that pipeline of me being scared to death of somebody. He scared the hell out of me. And, like, you can go back and listen to early like podcasts, like when Bad Batch started. I was like, that man is terrifying. He's so scary. And now I'm like, oh no. Same thing happened with Maul when I was like 8. I was like, he's terrifying. And now I'm like, oh my God. I need a shower. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what that pipeline is. I need to talk to my therapist now. But yeah, we love that, don't we? Yeah, he crossed the line is what he did. I was like, oh damn, okay, Crosshair. Go on with that weird voice. We love it. Yeah, it was nice to see him get it. Like, in all seriousness. Because he has been used and abused forever. And he finally saw it. Like, he saw a good soldier following orders. And he literally died in his arms. Like, basically. And it's like, oh, you really are just gonna, like, let me die if it comes to that. Like, okay, it's on. Like, it was so cool to see it actually finally like fully click for him in a way that he can't take back, which I was like, that was maybe stupid, but I loved it. Like, you make that decision, sweetie. You commit.
But it's a different way of getting to the same place that other people are already at, except they were gotten there by the removal of the chip, whereas he's getting there through the experience and knowledge and simply seeing these things happen, realizing that I might not be on the good side, even though that I'm so sure that I am. I've been so sure. Like, there's no question. I was raised to be this. This is what I am, and I'm on the good side. And it's like, to come to that realization slowly might actually be as powerful as coming to that realization quickly, just in a different way, you know?
Definitely. Absolutely.
He also, like, he kind of made like a brotherhood kind of like a pact, like kind of a like connection with the guy that all like, he's like, well, no, I'm not letting you die out here. I'm going to save you regardless of what you said. And he gets all the way there. And I don't think anything Lieutenant could have done would have saved him because he died pretty quickly after that. But regardless of that, I found it
Let him
really...
think what he thinks.
Yeah, I thought, like, rewatching the episode, I'm like, did he die? Like, I'm like, how did... I remember all of them died. And including Mayday. He does say, Mayday, Mayday. When the guy gets buried, I'm like, he said that. But I thought, I'm like, oh wait, did he die there? No, that's right. He carried him back, and like I think they used that very well, as opposed to him getting killed on the mission, which he wouldn't have turned that against the lieutenant because died on him. People die in the missions all the time in the Clone Wars and the Empire. Yeah. This was directly the lieutenant's fault by his apathy. And it was so much easier to turn his wrath against the lieutenant at that point, which had already probably been turned to 11 even before it.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be the way of, existence. When the threat suddenly becomes one that is against you, the issue becomes bigger. the problem becomes bigger, the solution becomes more important when you start to realize that something affects you as well, not just those other people, but it affects me. It always becomes more real to a person and their reactions to a change, and they start to think about it because, I mean, okay, they're clones, yes, but I mean, it's human nature. If it doesn't threaten you, most humans, when it comes to fight or flight, will fly and leave somebody else to suffer the consequences of something rather than themselves suffering it. But if they start to realize that, okay, I might not be able to get away, so it's probably going to be me one of these times. Now I have to start rethinking everything, even though I'm, law abiding, going to always do what I'm told. You can't beat your brain. If it decides on something, if we could tell ourselves to stop thinking about things, humans would all be in better shape, but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So Crosshair takes the step, finally gets rid of the pain in all of our butts. And all of a sudden, the stormtroopers who were told to go about their business are now have him dead to rights, where he is clearly unconscious.
Yeah. What a bummer.
Yeah.
And he wakes up on Mount Tantus.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
I wouldn't call it fun. No.
No. No, that was more of a, Paramore ain't it fun. Just
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, woof. Yeah, that's not going to be good. I'm excited to see where that goes, but also that's going to get worse before it gets better. That's going to suck for a minute for sure. But yeah. I did appreciate that you see a physical before the turn at the end, right? You see a physical example of Crosshair, a physical illustration, I suppose, of Crosshair's journey when he says at the beginning, why would you he's dead? Why would you carry dead weight, back to, and then you have Mayday say, leave me, I'm not going to make it. And he is no, absolutely not. He's already starting to shift a little bit in that moment.
Even the point when you first said, when he says, why would you carry dead weight? Mayday says, please don't let me die on your watch.
Yeah, yeah. It's just he said it.
Yep.
He's done.
Yep.
I was like, oh,
red
he's dead.
shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, sweetie.
All right. Last episode 13, Pabu. Which a lot of these episodes, it's the ancillary stuff that ties together with all the other episodes. This episode, the tsunami, interesting, but it doesn't really tie together with anything. It's the stuff with, I forgot her name. Wanda Sykes' character.
I don't remember her name either, but she's awesome.
I love her.
I don't remember her name. I didn't
trust her at all. I didn't trust her at all. Now I do. This is all it took for her to be never mind, I'm wrong. She's great. She's fantastic. What's her name?
V?
I thought it was Fee.
Fee?
Fee?
I think it's Fee.
I can't remember.
Oh, Fee, it's her fee, a fee.
Yeah.
I remember
Fee,
joking
Fee,
about that. Yes.
Yep, it's Fee.
It's
okay.
Fee. Yeah.
Sorry, Wanda.
What a lovely little moment of her just being say less. I'm going to take you to a place where you could just be a refugee, because guess what, you are.
And they all are.
You can actually have a safe place. You don't need to keep running. It's okay. You could be safe. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. We find that out very quick that it's not. But it's beautiful, and Omega can have a friend, and and she's also not heavy-handed about it. I like that she kind of lets them get there. She just takes them. She's like, I'm gonna take you to a spot. And then she'll say things it's a great place to raise a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also
Hello?
after the conversation with Sid, or the transmission by Sid.
Wild,
He's like,
wild.
yeah, so
So you're screwed.
you kind of turned your back on Sid. I got a place like you could go.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, that's not going to go well.
And everybody knows that Sid is, hinky. I mean, I feel like at this point, pretty much everybody's, semi-aware of it. Not as much as they should be, because my goodness, talk about mustache twirling, but that's a whole nother issue. But yeah, I do think there's some subtlety to the leading to this place. Like, hey, I'm going to the park. Want to come?
Yeah. And it's like, she doesn't push. She doesn't like give them too much too quick. It's like she sees them starting to have the idea and then she reinforces it, which I like. I'm also like, listen, I know it's going to break my little heart, but her and Tech, I'm like, I want that so badly. I'm so like, cute. That is so cute. Why is it so cute?
Because
I'm
he's
like,
oblivious.
Oh my God. I know. But he's starting, I see the wheels are starting to turn, like the cobwebs are coming off in his brain. It's starting to come together.
There are no cobwebs. He has never turned those wheels before. I'm absolutely certain of it, because the only way to be that oblivious to like shining strobing lights in your face over and over again is the fact that you've never turned those wheels before. That's the only way. And it's just that's what I'm getting from it. It's like, this is a kid who has never experienced any kind of socialization with other human beings, and suddenly is at school sitting next to this this girl who wants to give him candy, and he's like, why is she giving me candy? It's like, the only reason you're asking that question is because no one's ever given you candy before, is the thing.
Yeah.
That's when she greets the mayor, or the head of the town, and Wrecker kind of leans over the Tech and go, "You got some competition."
That was too funny.
That's why you need a friend like Wrecker.
And then his daughter is immediately like, Auntie Fee, and I'm like, not competition. Immediately not competition. We're good. No. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
I do love the cluelessness though of just, he's just completely oblivious to all of it. Like,
he's so sweet.
And everybody's like looking at him like,
hey,
he's just like, okay.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's great.
But yeah, what a beautiful little life that they could have, except for the fact that Sid's totally going to sell them out, because we've established so well that she is struggling financially. She is not doing great, and she is mad, and she will go, now that the Empire is looking for Omega, she is going to sell them out so quick. And I might be saying stuff that y'all already know, and I'm just saying
I know nothing.
But okay, great.
I'm nodding because I'm looking at it from the point of view where you're looking at it from, and it's just like, it's so
like,
obvious.
It's so obvious.
Like, I'm not saying anything about what happens. I'm just saying at this point.
They're teeing it up. They're teeing it up. Not in a way that I'm like, oh, come on, give me something. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm like, okay, great. The setup is there. Like, we're just waiting for it to happen a little bit, which is like, I think in this case, if it came out of nowhere, it would feel unearned. So I'm fine with it. But yeah, it's very obvious where we're going, and it's going to break my little heart, because they are so, like, the potential of like, oh, I can just like be, like, I could just live for the first time. Like, I could just stop for 5 seconds. And it's not going to be easy, especially for like people who are born and bred soldiers, right? And you
literally
see that from
genetically engineered people to fight.
Right. And you see that from the clones that are being retired in another episode, and they're like, what are we supposed to do? We're soldiers. Like, but you see that with this Clone Force 99, they're a little bit more like, okay.
Yeah, like, we could do other things.
Well, they've always
we're good.
Like, they use their fighting, they still fight. They just changed their targets.
Right. And I think too, it as representation for my fellow bro host Dan, like, dude, Trandoshans, man, like, you get what you pay for. Just saying.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I mean,
It's
you know, I will be happy to be wrong. Feel free to.
I think, like we've. It was no mystery up to this point that Sid is not a friend of the Bad Batch. I don't think Sid has friends, as we've seen.
No one in a position like that does.
And like we thought Fee, I think they set up initially Fee was her friend, where in this episode she clearly said, no, Sid is no friend of mine. Like, she's useful, we can help each other, but she is not my friend.
We are acquaintances, not friends. There's a distinct difference. And I think
colleagues maybe. Yeah.
Colleagues maybe. I think too, I think it's a situation of, two people who kind of live in the same world but are cut from different cloth. You know? I mean, because we all know that, the guy who knows how to get things, i.e., Shawshank Redemption. It's just like, yeah, great dude. Have you read the book? Because why he's in there is not great dude. It's all independent, it all depends on what you know and, what your association with someone is and what level that comes to. And I think that when it comes to Sid and Fee, they know a lot more about the skeletons in either closet. I just think that the skeletons in Sid's closet are ill-gotten worse than Fee.
Well, like,
sure.
Which are also ill-gotten, but...
Well, Fee's...
But different, right?
In this one, we see what Fee's doing. We thought she was just a treasure hunter. And they even
she was,
called it
covering
out.
it up with, fancy language. And then, she gets there and you're like, oh, that's literal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what, Tech
okay.
literally calls it out. He's like, what you have is worthless. It's, essentially garbage. And she's like, no, it's a historical
not to these people.
artifact to the people who use this, and this is where all the stuff I get goes. And you're like, oh, she's exactly the opposite of a bad person.
And also I'm realizing this now, it is a direct parallel, and they understand this very easily, right? When in the first episode we were talking about, you have Gonki, right? And Benny says something about he's a useless droid, and Omega says not to us. So they get that concept of something being not worth anything, but emotionally and sentimentally and for whatever reason that isn't financial. It's not just that. It's more than that. And you have a direct parallel there, which is why they're so immediately oh, this makes so much sense. We were fed that 2 episodes ago, different context, of course, and it's easy for us to understand the concept of a cultural significance of an object, but I thought it was a very interesting parallel. That it's you guys have stuff that means more to you than is money, and that is what Fee is operating in, and it makes what she's doing so much cooler. It makes that first scene where she's offering up all the money and then they end up taking the money and the thing and you're like, wow, good. Good. But she was willing to leave that amount of money on the table for something that has no monetary value.
Literally a case of money.
A case of money for something that has no monetary value, but emotionally and culturally priceless, right? Just so interesting. That is something that Sid, on the other hand, would never ever consider doing. She does the opposite. All right, I'm done. I'm out.
Okay,
that's it.
I just want to follow that up with basically what this is retelling a story we've seen in Lucasfilm before, because obviously Fee is Indy and Sid is Belloc, right?
Yeah.
The difference between the two things. One is willing to lay everything on the line for something that is certainly worth a lot of money, but that isn't the point.
It belongs in a museum.
For the other person, the money is the whole point. Yeah, it belongs in a museum. It doesn't belong in a museum in a different country, but that's a whole other issue.
I was going to say it belongs with its people.
I'm looking up here at Dr. Zahi Hawass going, it doesn't belong in another country, though. It should be in the country it came from.
Yeah. That's why, and listen, not to get into it, but there's a reason I did not go to the British Museum when I was in England. There's a reason I instead went to the Natural History Museum.
Well, yeah, the British
Tate
Museum,
Modern
you can
and
get a
things like that.
whole global tour of imperialism.
You sure can. You sure can. I also
that's
didn't. I was in the Tower of London and didn't go see the Crown Jewels.
It's like anything else. There's good and there's bad. The British Museum has
absolutely.
a lot of things that people in this world, a lot of people would never otherwise see. Going to Egypt is not like going to San Francisco, okay? It's a very big difference. So there is some reality to the fact that all of those things being there makes them more accessible to more people. But at the same time, the correct situation would be give that stuff back because you stole it. But
you stole it.
It's one of those situations where there's a lot riding on it, and I don't think it's as easy a discussion or situation to fix as we would like it to be, because it isn't just about give it back. There's a
lot there for sure.
A lot there. I mean, a lot of people who lose their jobs and their livelihoods if you put that stuff back where it was supposed to be. And there's a lot of things, that if you put it back where it's supposed to be, quote unquote, people break into the Cairo Museum and steal stuff, and then it's gone forever. So there's, there's multiple sides to look at. So we're not going to fix that today, but we are going to bring it up that there is a reality of the difference between Indy and Belloc.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it was definitely there, like, absolutely. And then just like, it was just nice to see hope for our Bad Batch.
We definitely
that's going to work out.
We definitely left off the end of this episode with hope. And I think like that's why I like breaking it up the way I did. Like, this is a good before the final 3 episodes, because we kind of have everything settled down. Maybe you can stay in this verdant paradise that clearly isn't trying to kill you.
Yeah, of course they show up and he's like, we haven't had one of them for like
30 years.
3 decades. Like, we're good. It's been a while. Bam. Like,
right.
Like,
lunch break is never as long as it should be.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah. The Bad Batch is just bringing some energy with that. But no, it was just, I wish I could believe that that's going to work out fully.
It's not the season
it might
finale.
A little bit. Yeah. Or the series finale. It's not Mando sitting on a chair watching Grogu play with a frog.
I so dig it, though. There. Give him 5 minutes, man. Give him 5 minutes. I love it.
Yeah. Just give him a hot second.
I mean, everybody deserves an opportunity to take a shower, sit back, breathe for a minute, like not be looking over your shoulder, even if it's just for a night. Like, give a guy a break. So, I mean, regardless of how things, through the episode proceed, it is nice to have those minutes of,
like
even if they don't last, it's nice to have.
If we ended
Omega
the season,
can have a girlfriend. What?
Yeah, if we ended the season right here,
love that.
Everyone is in a good place,
right?
Except Crosshair.
Well,
Well, yeah, but
Crosshair also kind of made his bed.
Yeah, I mean, he's on his own
he'll
journey.
be all right. He is on his own journey. Absolutely.
He chose to walk the Grand Canyon. That's his problem. Let him walk the Grand Canyon. We'll be at our base camp waiting on him to get back.
It'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine, right?
It's all gonna be fine.
Everyone's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Bob Marley told me so.
All right. I think that's good. Rayven, is there a way that people can follow you if you so deem them, allow them to, wish them?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Rayven Spencer, or you should definitely not do that, and more so you should watch me on Broaxium. But if you choose to just see my cats and random birds in my backyard, by all means follow me on Instagram. Otherwise, I am social media free. It's a drama free diet. It's a beautiful thing.
But you're on Bro
that
Axiom,
for
so
you.
that they can
But we're
find you
no
there.
drama, no hate, no clickbait, so it's cool.
But that's that's the fun.
That, I'm
no, I'm not saying
sometimes fun.
no, I'm not saying I'm saying being drama free is the fun.
That's right, exactly.
That's what I was
Yeah.
implying.
I got you. You know, we're good. We got it. We got it. Yes, it's
We're understood.
drama free and it's nice and I love it and we have a good time. So come see us. But I like coming here too. This is a good time as well.
Oh, glad.
Well,
Always lovely to have you.
we love having you on. So you're right up there with my my top 3. Who should we invite? Rayven hasn't been on
yeah.
in a month. She's coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm available.
Yeah.
Love it.
You also do respond pretty quick, so that's it.
That is nice.
Growed up. What can I say?
All right. You can find us on Twitter currently still at Talkin Tauntauns. You can email us talkintauntauns at aiptcomics.com. You can join our Discord through AIPT Comics or join our Patreon through aiptcomics.com and join us on Discord. I know all the words, I just don't have the order. You could leave us a 5-star review, which we would love and we would read
Please.
on the air. So, and there's a cat.
Cat. Hi, baby. Oh my god.
So, and next week, next week is we are planning on returning to the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, we sure are.
So, as you've noticed, sometimes plans change, but that's the plan for now. So we'll see you again then.